Hi there, Serial Trader here. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. It's been a while since I looked at this. Now, given that today the US markets were closed for the Thanksgiving holiday, and given that Bitcoin has finally shown its hand here, I think it's about time we had a look at this again. Alright, so yeah, as I said, it's been quite a while since the last video, but I'm presenting a new wave count now that we have more information to analyze this pattern. And my confidence level is quite high on this outlook at this point. So from our all-time high, which on the Bitfinex chart here was at 19,891. So let me double check that. 19,891. Yeah, so just about 20,000. All-time high, and we're going to call that primary wave 3, the peak there. We went down in a nice ABC down for a wave W. And now we've done an A, B, C, D, E for wave X, triangle wave X. And now we're coming down in our final wave Y to complete this very lengthy double zigzag. Time consuming and also deep in price for what would be primary degree wave 4. And then once we find our bottom here, the implication is that we head up towards new highs in primary wave 5. Now, what I find so compelling about this, as far as the Elliott wave principle goes, is triangles give you very good information, okay? And we certainly were in a very long triangle, which made this market, for many people, untradeable and certainly not very appealing. Even if you were trying to trade it, not much follow through. You just had these, series of false breakouts up and down and just a contracting range. Other than for short-term scalping, it just wasn't a very good trading market. Certainly not a good investing market for holders, as I'm sure many people are all too well aware of. Now, but the interesting thing about a triangle, okay? Triangles in the Elliott wave principle always precede the final move in a sequence. So if the triangle is a wave 4, that implies that wave 5 will be next, and then that's the end of that 5-wave sequence. If the triangle is a wave B, that implies that the next wave will be a move C, and then that'll complete the sequence of an ABC. If the triangle is a wave X, that implies one final move in wave Y to end the sequence. So the point of a triangle is it precedes the final move in a sequence, and then that entire pattern that it was part of gets more than fully retraced, whether to the upside or the downside. In this case, the implication is back to the upside. Now, I really want to dive into this because, yes, we have this large contracting triangle for wave X. But interesting thing about a triangle is sometimes you can have a triangle within a triangle, and that means the E wave. So you see we have our A up, A is just a zigzag, B is a zigzag, C is a zigzag, D is a zigzag, but E is not a zigzag. E is in itself a smaller triangle. So working off of the D wave extreme here, D of X, we now have an A, B, C, D, E for E of X. So triangle wave E within triangle wave X. Okay, are you following? So the E wave of the triangle actually was a triangle in itself. So this is pretty rare, but it is accounted for in the Elliott wave principle. It's actually mentioned in the book. And very significant implications because you're ending, you're preceding the final move in 2 different degrees of the sequence at this point. And this degree of the sequence, the X wave degree, that's a very significant degree because that signals that this entire correction, okay, from their almost $20,000 high, it signals that that is nearing its completion and that we are going to see a resumption of the much larger uptrend, okay? And that's very exciting implications indeed. Now, just to dive into this little spike here, this spike occurred on this Bitfinex chart, some sort of BS when there was some sort of event with Tether or news around the Tether. This spike doesn't exist on a lot of BTC charts, so I'll ignore it here on the Bitfinex chart. And that's why the C wave just goes here, and this doesn't violate the A wave because it didn't truly happen on various Bitcoin exchanges. It just happened. This is one of the exchanges that did happen on the spike. So we'll ignore that spike for analytical purposes. Now, that being said, since we are working our final move in the sequence, we're looking for a bottom. A couple things to point out. So RSI, now let me find the lowest level in RSI that we've seen so far, daily RSI. So we've seen a daily RSI level of 10.39. I believe that's the lowest we've seen so far. And just let me confirm that. Yes. So 10.3981. So let's call it 10. RSI of 10 on the daily. Historic low. If I zoom out this chart and Bitcoin price data goes way, 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 way back. I think it goes back to 2013 anyways. April or so of 2013. Yeah. So in this history of the Bitfinex Bitcoin chart, that is the lowest daily RSI ever. Okay, at 10. The second lowest ever is right here. And guess where this is? This is, let me find it. This was the absolute spike low, spike bottom here of the entire correction from this peak here at 1,139 to this bottom here at the bottom was at $162. So this entire correction, which lasted, I think it was around 18 months. This was the last major Bitcoin correction before the current one we've been in. Let's see when exactly it started there. So the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, 6th of December, the 4th of December. Let me get a little closer, just so we're accurate. Okay, the 4th of December 2013 lasted until the 18th of August 2015. All right, so that enormous, and that on that larger time frame, that was a primary wave 2 correction. So we had our wave 1 up, we had a primary wave 2 down. That second lowest RSI reading level ever compared to the one we just had, that did mark this bottom here. And then we began a historic move up from, let's see that exact level again, from $162 up to our wave 3 high of almost $20,000. So that extraordinarily low daily RSI reading marked the last major low on this chart. Perhaps it's likely to do the same here. And I'm smelling a bottom here. The thing is, there's no sign to this bottom yet. But if you wait for a sign that it's bottomed, you could miss out on, a couple $1,000s to the upside waiting for that confirmation. And maybe that's still worthwhile. Because at this point, we could still go down. I mean, we have a traditional, let's see, the traditional support level in sight here of around 3,000, which also was a former resistance level. So a nice congestion zone there. So it wouldn't be that surprising at this point to go down to 3,000. We've gone as low as, depending on the exchange you look at, I believe Bitfinex has gone as low as 42.42. Yeah. So 42. I've seen some around 4,000, 4,100, maybe even 3,900, depending on the exchange you look at. But you're splitting hairs at that point, trying to pick which one is most relevant. Bitfinex still has good volume, so I like to look at Bitfinex, and actually has pretty lengthy price history. So that's why I kind of favor it. But they're all going to be very similar, regardless of what chart you're looking at. Now, I just want to put this into log scale. Okay. And maybe go with the weekly chart so it's not this congestion here. Okay. See if I can make this work. Get to look half decent. Okay, that's wave. Oh boy, I'm having some trouble with this chart. Okay, I got that straightened out. So, okay, here's just the weekly chart. I have it in log scale just to make things a little more proportional. So you have this huge move up in wave 1, massive pullback in wave 2, massive in both time and also percentage decline. And then we had this enormous wave 3 move. That's what got everyone's attention. and now we've been having this pullback in what I'm labeling as this WXY double zigzag that had a triangle X with a triangle wave E within the triangle itself of X. Okay, so we didn't consume as much time yet. That's the only issue I have here. But there's nothing saying we have to consume the same amount of time. So you see, this is the amount of time we consumed in the first big bear market there, and compared with that, we've consumed a little over half, getting towards 2/3 perhaps of the amount of time. So it still works. It'd be nice to see it more comparable as far as being closer to the same amount of time consumed, but that's not necessarily a must, right? As long as the price action looks sufficient and the pattern looks mature, then I'll take that. So we'll get out a log scale here, just so I put this all in perspective. Get out a log scale, go back to the daily chart. Now, looking at the daily chart, since we do have our significant move out of the triangle, or thrust down out of the triangle, let's just dig in. Maybe we'll look at the 4-hour chart to get a little more detail here. And I'll get rid of the volume bars, just so we can analyze the pattern. All right, so if wave E ended here, what we're looking for is some sort of sequence that can be counted as complete to the downside, okay? And if we're looking for a wave Y, we're looking for another zigzag to complement our wave W zigzag. So we're looking for a 5-3-5 pattern for a zigzag. So we potentially, if you dial in here, you can get a little, you have to go to the hourly chart, but there's a little 5 waves down here, pull back, and then another impulsive wave down, so maybe an A, B, C, and then another triangle potentially, and then now we're coming down in another. So let's really dig into this. Maybe something like this. A, call it B, and C there. Now I want to make sure I'm subdividing this properly. And actually, no, let's rework this here. Looking for a 5-3-5 for a zigzag. So let's adhere to the structure. So we arguably have a 5 wave down for 1, correction up in 2, you have a 3, maybe some sort of triangle 4, or at least a triangle as part of a zigzag 4, and then maybe down in 5 here, and let's just drop the degree down. It's not going to be minor. It's not going to be minuet or minute. It's going to be minuet. It's got to be 5 for perhaps wave A, minor wave A. Let's get this thing working here. Minor wave A, and then we'll have a B, come down in C. Let's get this to minor. Here, just bear with me. We'll go with the daily again. Okay, let's just pan this down a bit. Okay, so maybe a little 5 down for A. Then we'll have to have some sort of corrective bounce from our oversold condition in wave B, and then maybe a final wave down and final move down in wave C, maybe to that 3,000 level, if that's where we're heading. It's possible, and that would end wave Y of 4. So something like that. There's not enough development of this thrust out of the triangle yet to really know exactly how the patterns are going to play out, but it's just kind of a little hypothesis currently of what we're working to the downside. So it does not yet look complete, although comparatively to where it came from, it's certainly nearing completion. And what I mean from that, so correcting all the way from roughly 20,000, whether we bottom at 4,000 or 3,000 or 2,500, it's not a huge difference compared to the many thousands we've already come down. So very close to a bottom. Structure looks, at least on the very short-term wave wave analysis. Structure does not look quite complete yet. Looks like we need to get a 5-3-5 down if we're going to make a zigzag for wave Y. RSI is suggesting we're getting very close to a significant bottom, being it's the lowest it's ever been. And the fact that we're thrusting out of a triangle that had a triangle at the end of it, that also suggests this is the final move down, and we should be really fishing for a major bottom and a resumption of the overall bull market that's been in force for multiple years. So myself personally, I do still have a core position in Bitcoin, although I have not added to it yet. Although I'm placing some buy orders in here. I'm just laddering them. 4,000, 3,500, 3,000, 2,500. I have a few different prices just mixed in there. See what gets filled. Just looking to average into a position. I'm not going to try and nail the absolute bottom because that's next to impossible to do with any kind of consistency. But what I am going to try and do is get a good average price into this bottoming process to position for the next huge bull wave up in primary wave 5, and will likely not only meet the former high of around 20,000 but greatly exceed it if any of the previous bull runs are any indication as to how that can go. So I just thought I'd bring this up, as it's been a while since I touched on Bitcoin, but I think now is finally the time to be looking for something interesting to happen. And it's nice to see that we've finally resolved this very lengthy, ambiguous pattern, and now it actually is quite clear now that it's shown its hand. All right, that's probably good for now. Serial Trader signing off.